All right, let's talk about the J-Rod situation. Now, what I'm about to say is not me defending his actions. I'm defending the right to have a conversation. What I'm about to say is not giving excuses. I am looking for meaning. Okay, this is social commentary where I look for the universal truth. Now, it's very important for this 15 minutes you understand how I'm about to break this down. So you have to listen to the whole thing through before you attack me, okay? There's a reason why Jiu-Jitsu guys are not talking about this. Number one, we're going to talk about the event. We're going to then talk about the reaction. I'm going to give insight. I'm going to dissect it to the root. I'm going to give a position of what the problem is, and then I'm going to tell you the lesson that I've learned from this. So let's start off with the event, okay? J-Rod, if you don't know, is a very highly talented jiu-jitsu athlete. Very highly talented. I don't know the guy, so I'm not about to bring out my pitchforks and stab him and kick a man while he's down. I'm not. But he's very talented, and he's with a team that's known as B Team. Just think of like the Avengers. It's like, or the X-Men, like a group of people, or like for DC, you have the Justice League. Like there's a group of guys that are very talented and they train together. And J-Rod just got kicked out. He posted on his story or it was on his page that he got kicked out for having an adult entertainment addiction. The corn addiction. I don't want to say it. I don't want to get flagged. He got addicted. He likes to see things. Okay. Just understand that. The male gaze has consumed him. Okay. So he got kicked out for it. But if you go a little bit into the gossip, he actually took allegedly, I only saw the surface of it and I took it and I'm like, okay. Allegedly. He got pictures of some of the girls that are inside of that gym, and he deep faked their faces onto adult entertainment stars. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, basically in adult entertainment, there is technology where you could take someone's face and put it on an adult star while she's in a sexual act. So now you're not looking at the adult star, you're looking at the person that you took their face and you put them on. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay, and he said he's addicted to customizing his fantasies, but he's addicted to adult entertainment, and now he's kicked out, and there you go. So the reaction, we're in phase 2, the reaction of it was very mixed. You would see, I think the casual person that heard about this is probably like, oh, that's weird, and they kept going with their day. I don't know what the girlie's reaction is. I don't know what it is, but I can imagine. You get what I'm saying? And then, strangely, you don't see a lot of jiu-jitsu outlets really talking about this. You really don't. And this is where we go, well, I was about to say we're going to go to the insight, and I think this is why so we're in phase 3 now. This is why a lot of people have been messaging me like, hey, Smitty, can you talk about this? They really just want to see me roast them or whatever, but you know me, I think too much, and I don't know J-Rod, so I have nothing to say about him because I don't know the guy, but I can look at the actions and what he's done. So this is the insight. The reason why you don't see a lot of jiu-jitsu guys like really discussing this, number one, it's none of our business. But since I'm doing these long discussional videos, I'll make it my business and talk about it. It's not that we are mad at J-Rod. This is the elephant in the room. This is the quiet part that's not going to be spoken. We're not mad at him. I'm sure there's some guys that are disappointed with him, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys disappointed. And I'm sure there's some white knight guys that have their pitchforks and they view women as goddesses and they're just ready to cape for women, But for the most part, I believe a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are really not mad at him, disappointed maybe. But we are uncomfortable with the fact that we understand the desperation. That's the uncomfortable truth. That is the insight that I want to talk about. And a lot of people are probably not going to agree with me. And this is where I'm about to start slapboxing in the street to defend my point. Men, the reason why a lot of these guys are not talking about it or going out against him and kicking him while he's down is because we understand that desperation. But men are not good with emotional regulation, and Maybe it's emotional intelligence. I don't know. We usually suppress a lot of things. So a lot of these guys, you're not going to see them talk about it. But I will talk about it since you guys are asking me, and I love to yap. So now let's dissect the problem. Let's dissect it to what the problem actually is. The word that I want to bring in is called rites of passage. And specifically the rite of passage from adolescence, someone being a child, to becoming a man or an adult. Let's say that. Adolescence, a child to an adult. Okay, so we're about to get biological here. All right, so, put the politics or whatever away. Let's talk about this. The rite of passage for women, we're going to start off with women first. The rite of passage for women is typically always forced upon them. It's never given to them. Like, think about it. A woman cannot decide when she's 13 or 12, I think it's time for me to have my period. A woman cannot get away from the male gaze. They can't get away from societal pressures to be beautiful. The rite of passage of becoming a woman is forced upon young girls. It's going to always happen. But, and this is why I feel the disconnect of why a lot of girlies are not going to understand what I'm talking about. This is a thought process from the male point of view. But the rite of passage for men is manufactured. This is very, very, very important, okay? The rite of passage for men is manufactured. You have to teach, you have to groom. I know that's a very charged word, but you need to groom a boy to become a man. It has to happen, okay? This is why back then, the Greeks, they used to have young boys with them, and they'll teach that young boy to be a man. One of the biggest man philosophers of society or history is Marcus Aurelius. He created meditations. I don't know if Marcus Aurelius created Stoicism, but Marcus Aurelius is basically, he is the guy that is a good man, but he was trained to be a man by some of the greatest thinkers of Western thinking. So I want you guys to understand that to become a man must be manufactured. Now, if you look at today, those manufacturers, those systems have all been destroyed. You don't have Boy Scouts. Anytime men try to create a space and follow me here, you have to follow me here. But anytime men try to create a space where it's just men, that right there is sexist. It's deemed to be sexist. You get what I'm saying? So now you have a situation where men are in spaces with women who we're in spaces with women. That's the problem. I'm not going to get there yet. But let's go into what J-Rod said specifically, and then I'll lead you guys to the problem. He said that he has an adult entertainment problem. Right? He loves watching adult entertainment to the point he customized his fantasy and got actual people that he knew to be in the adult to basically make his fantasy even greater. Okay? Now, when you look at that, the reason why I said it's uncomfortable and the reason why men haven't talked about it, because we understand his desperation, we are seeing untamed lust. That's what we're looking at. And this problem is not going to be just a jiu-jitsu problem. This is a problem that you're going to see in all forms of society, and anytime that there is a co-ed situation, because the infrastructure and manufacturings of what made men become from a boy to a man, because these have been destroyed, that primal desire, the untamed lust of a man is going to always take over a man, and he's going to act on a desire. There's nothing wrong with having fantasies. We all have fantasies. You better not tell me you don't have fantasies. But the problem is when it's a dark fantasy and you act upon the fantasy. This is the uncomfortable truth that a lot of men, of why we understand the desperation. So, what is the problem? Because there are so many things that made men or trained boys to become men, right? There was things that trained boys to understand it's okay to have lust, but it's not okay to have untamed lust. One thing that is very, very scary is a man that doesn't have no direction. When a man doesn't have a direction, when he's out of his purpose, he does destructive things. So what is the problem? Because we have destroyed the things that taught boys to be men, the problem is today, there's nothing that teaches men how to deal with women. That's the problem. That's the problem. Okay? So, if we look at the gym, for example, the public gym. We're talking about the public gym. This is why some men get really angry when they see like women in lustful clothes, because all of the things that would have taught men how to deal with these feelings is no longer around. And that's why you have men saying just cover up, and this is why you have some religions don't even teach men how to deal with that. It's like, oh, just don't be around women in general. This is why, and because we have no structure, you see things where women are running around saying, where are all the real men? Where is, you have red pill, you have the incel culture that has built up, the male loneliness epidemic, like men don't know how to deal with, like, do y'all see what the problem is? The rite of passage, because there is no more rite of passage for boy to men. You have this untamed sexual urge that is going to always come across some type of man. Unfortunately, it was J-Rod. Unfortunately, is going to possess him, and he's going to fall and succumb to his desires. I know this sounds very stupid, but you got to follow me. To give you the best example, and this is where I guess the lesson is going to come into play, I'm going to give you guys a quick story. It's very biblical. I don't think God, in the story of Adam and Eve, was actually angry at Adam. He was disappointed with Adam. He was disappointed because Adam allowed that untamed lust to choose. He chose untamed lust over his purpose. And because that happened, he got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. That is what happens to all men. That is the lesson. When you take your untamed lust and you allow it and you put it above your purpose, you will be kicked out of the Garden of Eden. I'm not saying it's these girls' fault. I'm not condoning what he did. I'm telling you the lesson that I'm realizing and I'm learning from this. It's going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to see situations like this. Okay? That's the lesson behind this. Unfortunately, it happened to him, but for all the young men that are sitting here and they're watching this, you could click off now, but I'm about to yap now. But that's the main thing. For all the young men that are sitting here watching this, it's okay to have fantasies. It's okay to do that, but it's okay to think. I know people saying it's bad or whatever. It's okay. You're human. It's okay. But when you take your urges and you put it above your purpose, that man is a good athlete, but he took his urges and he threw it above his purpose. You will be casted out of the Garden of Eden. You need to understand that. You will be thrown out of paradise and you will have to work for the rest of your days and you will be cursed. That's just how it goes. Okay? And a lot of people don't understand it. They don't care that these infrastructures for men have been destroyed, but that's now the problem that we face. So understand that you should not or do not allow your sexual urges to come onto you and make you put that above your purpose. So that's the lesson that's the lesson I have to say. You guys wanted me to talk about the J-Rod situation. That's probably what you guys wasn't going to expect, but that's what I have to say about that. This is not just a jiu-jitsu problem. This is why I call this social commentary. This is something I've been wanting to do. I just took this situation. We're going to always see this in co-ed environments. And the girlies, I'm sure the girlies can type away, but I gave you a long thesis of what it is, but I'm sure there's a bunch of girlies that can type away the sexual perversion. After a good roll with a guy, he's trying to hit you up. Like there's nothing that's teaching men how to deal with women. You guys can say like, oh, we tell you guys all the time. Y'all don't understand. It takes a man to teach a boy to become a man. I'm not calling J-Rod a boy, but the action was a boy, what a boy would do. That's all I gotta say. What do you guys think? Type away.